went missing. Police received a warning involving the man now accused in her murder.
And tonight, DPD says they messed up. 7 investigator Ross Jones reveals what went wrong and what's changed as a result.
Mr. Butts targeted and befriended women who had to have sexual relationships with their young daughters. He was a classic and expert groomer and pedophile.
On the same day, Jarvis Butts would be accused of killing and sexually abusing 13-year-old Naziyah Harris, police and prosecutors urged the community to protect its children at all costs.
But when it comes to our children, we must be deliberative, we must be diligent, and laser focused on their safety.
We make strong and good decisions for our children, keep them out of harm's way.
But more than 20 months before Harris ever went missing, Detroit police had been warned that she'd been victimized by Jarvis Butts and failed to ever investigate.
There was enough for the department to ask about Naziyah.
Yeah, we could have done better. No question.
Last month, we showed you that Jarvis Butts had been the subject of multiple complaints to Children's Protective Services, including at least one that named Naziyah Harris as a victim. What we did not know at the time is that CPS wasn't the only agency who'd been warned. In April of 2022, in response to a complaint CPS had received, workers there submitted a law enforcement notification, or LEN, to Detroit police. It's an alert to possible criminal behavior that may warrant a police investigation. In this case, the complaint told DPD that there was an incident at a birthday party where a child accused Butts of sexual abuse. Naziyah, and name withheld, reported that Jarvis touched them inappropriately as well. It read, "Jarvis is a sex offender and a felon." Naziyah's great aunt, Jernell, says she filed that complaint with CPS that ultimately made its way to DPD.
They're the police, they're supposed to investigate. I mean, it had all the everything is there.
But the department never did investigate, at least with respect to Naziyah. Instead, according to officials, only the other alleged victim named in the report was questioned because CPS only listed her under the victim header, even though Naziyah was identified as an abuse victim too.
Does that make any sense to you?
No, makes zero sense. Either they didn't read it or they didn't comprehend it. That's my opinion.
Tom Berry is a retired Detroit police lieutenant who reviewed the report that bears Naziyah's name.
How many victims do you see identified there?
I see 2 for sure, maybe 3. Somebody dropped the ball. It's pretty clear by reading that there's at least 2 allegations of sexual assault there.
Her name was right in the report. At a minimum, the department should reach out to her and at least ask if something happened. But that didn't happen.
It did not.
Today, Assistant Chief Charles Fitzgerald makes no excuses, saying much has changed with how the department handles the more than 5,000 LEN reports it receives every year. Unlike when the Naziyah complaint came through, he says DPD now interviews everyone identified inside, regardless.
Okay, let's pause this so we can read it, y'all. Okay, it says a brief description. We got Jarvis here as a alleged perpetrator, his address and all of that. It says, I'm a pretty much guess who names is what. Shannon is the mother of Janiyah and the other 3 kids at the time. She only had 4. Says Jarvis is the father of, I'm assuming it's Janiyah, and lives outside of the home. Naziyah is the niece of Shannon and lives outside of the home. There was an incident at a birthday party. One of the children that attended the party accused Jarvis of sexual abuse. Naziyah and Janiyah, possibly, allegedly, reported that Jarvis touched both of them inappropriately, or this could have been the other little girl. I'm not sure. Okay, Jarvis touched one of the girls in her private area and it hurt. This was never reported. Jarvis is a sex offender and a felon. This could have been Naziyah's name here. Is sending pictures of herself on Instagram. Naziyah was asked to send a picture of her privates and to play with her private for the person on the phone. This could possibly be Shannon whooped Naziyah instead of talking with her and reported the information to law enforcement. This box X'd out right here says a joint investigation between law enforcement and MDHHS will be appropriate. The case has been assigned to whatever worker it was at the time.
Regardless of whether they're listed under the victim header. Complaints are triaged and are assigned quickly, and missing information, like in this case, Naziyah's last name, is ferreted out by investigators.
It's a horrible excuse. We still should have done what we should have done.
The fact that they acknowledge it shouldn't have worked this way, and it took for something so tragic to happen to her, you're damn right it shouldn't have worked that way. They should have did their job.
Kiwana Morton is one of Naziyah's relatives who says she filed complaints with CPS too. She wonders tonight if the 13-year-old's fate might have been different had police ever bothered to reach out.
Somebody has to answer for that. They absolutely do. CPS and DPD.
I think the obvious question that a case like this begs is how many other victims or alleged victims in reports like this were named but never contacted by DPD.
Yeah, prior to the recent process, I don't know. I would hate to speculate even.
Do you worry that there are other cases like
Of course, yeah, for sure.
I don't think it stopped in one child sliding through the.
I really don't like this police officer's or whoever he is attitude. It's just so nonchalant, and that's the problem.
Crack. They clearly weren't doing their jobs.
We don't know, of course, what Naziyah might have said to police if she'd been interviewed. The other alleged victim who was questioned made no disclosures of abuse. Jarvis Butts denied he touched anyone when questioned by police, and he has maintained his innocence since being charged. But by not asking the question, you know she couldn't possibly have said something was going on, and that's what haunts the family and will haunt the family, I think, for a very long time.
Well, of course, trust so hard when the system fails you, you know.
And to see their names in a report 2 years earlier is frightening.
And if they're saying that procedures have changed, certainly our hope is that
Absolutely.
fewer people will fall through any cracks. All right.
Thanks a lot, Ross.
Of course.
Yeah, y'all, something definitely got to change. Naziyah's law or something, because that is unacceptable.
What?
Let me go up the chat, y'all, really quick. Fantastic. Hey, Bookie. She said, I'm out right now, but I want to catch the replay. Okay, be safe. Sean Talks, I need to know what part of the police department that Roxy wife works, because why is stuff missing? Like, seriously. Kaylin says, whoever was supposed to be on this case needs to be fired. This is sad. Oh my God. Yes. Shantasta said, Kiwana is pretty. She see why Roxy is mad. It's got to be something. Jealousy, envy, something. Bad ma'am, this is a lot. My watch is asking me if I'm okay. And no, I'm absolutely not. Wow. Said you agree, Kirsten? Yes. Yeah, something not right. Oh, brother say, that's how they do. Sir, you do know that you and your subordinates and that damn Kim Worthy needs to be held accountable, right? It's, yes, unadulterated, absolutely. It's such a shame. Like, this is a child's life we're talking about. This is children's lives we're talking about. And he has such a nonchalant attitude. Like, yeah, it happened. We'll do better next time. No, y'all need to be fucking sued, and something got to give. You say if that baby was in the middle of the floor asking to speak to someone, damn, the counselor not being there, find out what's wrong. Exactly. Even if the counselor wasn't there, the adults were present. They should have taken more consideration into why was she feeling that way? What was going on? So because the counselor is not there, just ignore it. The lack of compassion that society has is a problem as well. People not wanting to be involved in other people helping other people, or you just, not taking other people's situations seriously as they would for themselves is a problem as well. The lack of humanity is a problem as well. The lack of concern for others. Creations by Asia say so pretty, and I love that color on her. I told her the same thing too. Oh, brother says I can't stop crying. It's so sad and sickening. It is. They should be ashamed. Creations by Asia said. Meanwhile, this was Shannon and Marquita got going on. Yes, everybody ignored Naziyah. Everybody ignored the red flags. Shannon didn't give a fuck. Annette orchestrated the whole thing. She was a mastermind behind this. It's a disgrace. But meanwhile, Shannon don't give a damn. This is what she posted to Threads on the 20th. I said I was going to show y'all in the next video, where she was talking about Juju's birthday and how it being all about Juju. And, of course, some people commented and their thoughts about it. I guess she figured she can post over on Threads and she won't get a lot of heat over there. She was sadly mistaken, because they was tearing her ass up in the responses. I just don't have a whole thread, but you can see here where people just like, to hell with all of that. Although they is talking about F the child, but that might not have been right to say. But she said, you better count your days, because your end not looking too good to us. You are a failure, not only to Naziyah, but your children as well. She's a baby, and your jealous ass seems suspect. All that was around the situation. Jarvis won't hold in too long before they force it out of him. And of course, your twin isn't going to say anything because it's your twin, and your mom will cover your ass, but not for too long. And when they find out y'all are still lying, y'all ass is grass. This was them spotted not too long ago. I'm thinking within the past week or couple of weeks or so, out at bowling. Okay. Having a good old time. Yep. You thought Taro, she say they sell out, sacrifice their children and grandchildren. They sure did. You can post about this, but they have not made not one post in remembrance to Naziyah, in reference to Naziyah. I miss you, nothing sentimental or emotional towards Naziyah. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Then we got Roxy and them all on the other back end. Okay. Mad about the interview. I saw this comment on Community Advocates after they did the interview 2 months ago from Jarnell, and the constant backlash that they even got from doing this interview from Roxy and them. And Jarnell's response in the comment was, so apparently Roxy feels that the interview was meant to slander her. She misconstrued my words as trying to bash her. I was asked a question and answered with my opinion and perception. I explained the timeline for how things transpired. Then I also went into how everything went left. Roxy publicly bashed Kiwana and I on social media in September of 2024 because she disagreed with how we handled things after working together for over 6 months. Because remember, they was doing the protesting together once Roxy moved back to Michigan and February. Well, she purchased her home in January, but she say she moved in February. I did not engage because I did not do social media drama. As I said, I received death threats, calls to my job, and vandalism to my home. I reached out to her via phone, text, and voicemail before, during, and after the damage was done, but she did not answer or return my calls. By the time she did call, I was past talking and had moved on. I never said Roxy did not play a part in Naziyah's case. I never said she was not related to Naziyah. I never said she wanted to be in the spotlight or any of the bullshit or her followers came up with. Correction, I feel like she definitely wanted to be in the spotlight. She definitely hated the fact that Kiwana and Jarnell, from Roxy's perception, looked like they were getting more attention than her because she's an attention-seeking whore, that she took the opportunity that of a death of a possibly deaf and missing child tragedy as some form of way for her to get attention. So she demised them for that, and she's envious of them for that. She said community advocate. Okay, I might have said it wrong, but it's community advocate network. This is where this comment was. Okay. She said, I never said she was not related to Naziyah. I never said she wanted to be in the spotlight or any of that bullshit. She said, but what I did say was I did not want my name in lights. I did not agree with some of her actions after the police told us to stand down and that they had everything that they needed. They even told us that some actions were hindering the investigation. I also disagree with the GoFundMe account, as I feel we should wait for the conviction to memorialize her. The investigation is still going on, and I still have hope that Naziyah or Naziyah's body is recovered. I'm just not ready to fully accept that she is gone. I did not attend searches because I was actively collaborating with the police or attending to my personal responsibilities. As I said, we were told to stop searches at some point in the investigation. Everyone involved did what they could do when they could do it. I expressed how I felt to Roxy before, so most of how I felt should have not been a surprise to her, not to deter her from what she was doing, but to let you know I would not participate. At the end of the day, we are all grown. As of Thursday, after the podcast, Roxy has continued making posts directed towards us. People are once again in my inbox. My contact information has yet to change, but I have not received any contact from her expressing her concerns or asking for clarification. I am too mature to go back and forth with people on social media, trying to defend myself against lies, misconceptions, and made up fictitious stories and accusations. I spoke my truth, and no one knows precisely what I have done or been through during this ordeal. You only know the bits and pieces I have shared. Children are still in that household. This was about a month or two ago, and the children are still there, just to clarify. The lies are still being told. The rug is still being swept under the rug. And justice has not been received for Naziyah. This is precisely why I stay in the background and do what I do, because mess like this. I apologize to Deborah to bring the drama to the platform, because even after they went on Community Advocate, they were still getting bashed by certain people in the comments on their personal Facebook profiles. Or this is when Mark D and Roxy started the bashing on his podcast as well. And then, back in September 2024, they were going live and doing things like that too as well. A lot of subliminal messages being sent to Kiwana and Jarnell by Roxy, even up until recently, which is what I'm about to show right here. This is one of them on her TikTok, where she says when your family cut you off because you called them out on their bullshit, and she do shit like this, you know what I'm saying? I think it's, I'm gonna see if I can play it a little bit. Somebody's watching me. It's my anxiety. You know, just playing around. She thinks shit is a game. She got Naziyah's name on her sweater here. You know, she got the boxing gloves on, like she's, you know, whatever type of message she trying to send with the boxing attire or whatever it is. I don't know, they don't like gloves, but they something, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what are you, why are you playing? You know, this is not a joke. And that's why she does not deserve to utter Naziyah's name out her mouth, because she think this is a joke. She wants attention. She been going against Kiwana and Jarnell from the very beginning to distract the case, to distract the public. Meanwhile, her wife is getting sworn in to be a cop throughout all of this time. Okay. Which is right here. Victoria Foley. Victoria Foley, you know, and you know, the tampering with the case, the mockery of the case. She's making a mockery of Naziyah's disappearance, Naziyah's life. She's making a mockery of the people that genuinely were fighting and still is fighting for Naziyah. You know, this is not cool. And then you got people that still want to come in my comments, harass me for speaking up against the mockery. People still harassing Kiwana and Jarnell for stepping up and doing what they can, going against Annette, going against Shannon, going against Roxy and everything else. You know, it's a damn shame. The extent that people will go for attention, even in the death and disappearance of a child, is sick. And then you'll have people supporting this foolishness right here. Getting half the story, getting a distorted version of the story from Roxy because she wants to paint everybody else as the problem. And they was on bullshit. What bullshit, Roxy? What bullshit was they on? They was on bullshit for filing reports, for contacting the police, for showing up on the news several times. And a couple times you were on the news because you were in the mix with them, but didn't know Naziyah, didn't know anything about Naziyah, barely knew her. You didn't know her birthday, her birth year. You knew what was happening, but you did nothing. You never filed a police report, Roxy. You never called CPS. You were here several days before Naziyah went missing. You were here after she went missing and still did nothing until the end of February after the investigation was closed. So what's really good, Roxy? Roxy Kelly,